choose wisely. As the true grail will bring you life. False grail will take it from you.
I'm not a historian. I have no idea what it looks like. Which one is it?
Let me choose. It will not be made out of gold.
That's the tip of a copyright. What way to find out? You have chosen wisely.
I'm gonna explain now how to make the Nivea cream that returns good looks and being young and everything. And it's not that complicated. It has a few complications, but it's not that hard. This is an ex-girlfriend called me like, I want to be young. She has some dark spots, so she wants to remove them. Dark spots on skin, let's say, is just a different pigment. That means that there, where the skin is dark, that's the atoms that people ate when they're little kids, and they don't have that much cold energy in them. The body then uses that to make the skin. So that's just some hot matter that turns dark faster. Old people have that and everything. Dark spots, but everybody wants to be young too as well. So this also removes dark spots from skin to old people, and returns skin to be young again and everything. A billionaire technology right here, billionaire patent and everything. So these are graphene. I'm gonna use 5 today. A little bit more could go in, but this is enough for one of these. Gonna make one of these whole to have all of that stuff in it. So this is graphene with clay. If you can find graphene that's not a pencil, that's even better, ordinary graphene. But this is just as good. So the problem with graphene is it has to be destroyed into that it's atoms separate to themselves. That's the big point. That's what the blender is for. The graphene has to be all like a liquid. But now it's going to be a liquid just in Nivea. So. But graphene is the main part that returns the skin to look young and everything. This is one that I have from before that I had left, but it didn't whiz all that much. Okay, there it is. But this is cheap. This is like 30 cents, I think, one of these. So, but in this technology, it's going to be like millions and stuff. You guys can try this. The only problem with graphene is that it's going to evaporate with the Nivea. See, this, when you apply it to the skin, most of it goes into the air, you know. That's why it's moist for like an hour and it's all gone. Because most of it goes actually into the air. I have headaches from this when I inhale it too much, so now I look not to inhale it that much and everything. But the atoms go into your nose and then it goes to your brain directly, so. And the smell of it and everything. So that's that. 5 of graphene pencil parts in there. So now I'm going in with the Nivea so that it mixes with it when it's blended. but I'm gonna need more graphene because this is a bigger one. So I'm gonna get 3 more just to make sure that it's all okay. So that's 8 of these. You can buy this anywhere, it's like 30 cents. But once you all see the results and everything, you'll tell this is a billionaire patent, billionaire technology. I mean, girls call me like, oh, let me try it, let me try it. An ex-girlfriend, this is now making it for her, so. So I want to make a whole one, so I'm making a bigger pack. Okay, so that's this whole one. This is Nivea Rich Nourishing. That's what I use. If you can find a better one, that's okay, but this is quite good. Now what's going to happen is when it's blended and the graphene is all turned into individual atoms, the energy from the graphene will go into Nivea, and from Nivea into graphene, and then it will be applied. But for that to happen, it has to be returned into this bottle, and this bottle protects all the energy that it's not coming out. This is like a special bottle for that, to do that. So, because when you will leave Nivea right here, it all goes into the air and it's gone. So. Now this is something that's like okayish. This is probably more hot stuff, but it has some cold stuff in it too. That's this stuff. Oil from this, they make this out of it. But this is simply to make the skin tight and so on. So I'm gonna put 2 of these. One of these in, I think is quite enough. Not gonna do more than that. And a little bit of this I'll just put in just to make the skin tight, like more on the surface. Or no, I'm not gonna put it in, because it's a different type of thing. That's quite enough. Now the honey is rich atoms. You can tell Nivea right there. This is how you can always tell is something a rich atom or not. You can tell how it's moving. See, so this is highly rich liquid, because it's like, you can tell by the speed that it moves with. The honey moves in the same way. So that's how you know something is atoms that are fat, big, and very rich. But I'm going to put a little bit of honey in, simply that it all mixes in nicely, but I don't want it to change the whole chemistry inside too much. But the honey is there simply to, when you apply it, that it doesn't go into the air, but it stays on your skin and goes in, and the graphene stays there, so that it doesn't all evaporate and everything. And that's enough of the honey. Now this is some from the graphene tree that I had left. The graphene enriched atoms are in it, so I'm going to put some of that in. And the problem with blending this in a blender is that it will all stick to the sides. It's not going to be blended anyway, so it needs some water in, just to make sure that it's not going to stick to the sides, but a very little water goes in, maybe like 100, maybe like a third of a cup or something. Because in the end, like half a centimeter of water right here, that's quite enough. If more is needed, I can add it. But okay, so it's all in and it's turned on, and that's it. Now that's the graphene right there, and the water is supposed to make it fall down. So now now people can see that's a graphene right there, and it's supposed to be right here. So that's one of the problems, and that just means a little bit more water can go in. But too much water will turn it into a liquid, and then it's all useless. It took about 10 minutes, and people can see now. Once you see that the Nivea is very, very dark, and so on, and you have the water right there. All the water is like an aqua version. It makes pores go away and everything, but I throw that away simply because I don't want it to be too runny and everything. And it's better to do the graphene and Nivea first, and then at the end just add the honey, because it makes it too tight and then it sticks too much to the sides. So just the water, graphene and honey, just the water, graphene and Nivea, and then at the end just add a little bit of honey and whiz it 1 minute, and that's enough. So, and then it's done. It's better that way. So, but there, once people can see that the color of Nivea has changed to dark, to gray, the color of graphene, that means that the graphene energy went into all of Nivea. It's in all of it, and it has mixed up nicely and everything. There are little bits of graphene there stuck to the sides, so they don't all break, but most of it broke into atoms and it's there. So, and that's evidence of that. Once people see that the color has changed, then that's that. So the water I'm just gonna waste. I'm just gonna put here because I don't need it, and this is a plant for that. So this is a plant that I water with this stuff, and that's what a person is left with. Very dark gray Nivea, full of graphene, and this returns young looks, like fast, better than even the stuff millionaires use, Jennifer Lopez, anybody. This is better stuff. So that's what a person is left with right there, and it's cool stuff. Girls like this, older women, of course, and everybody is gonna want it. Yeah, just what I have to mention. I think it's not yet, it should not be used on private parts, on sexual organs and everywhere, all over the skin, it's okay. Maybe it's not good to inhale it, so one would just apply it and take a hose, like, and breathe through that for an hour till it's all in the skin. But on sexual organs, some of this stuff goes inside then the body, into the blood and everything. So it's not meant to go inside or to swallow it or something like that. Graphene is maybe good, but it's supposed to, when it's enriched. Graphene is good, yeah, of course, even inside the body, but in a different way, and when it's enriched through fruit and everything. So I meant like so that it goes into the blood. Of course, for girls it's okay and everything, just not on the inside and so on. So for men too, just not, you get it. So now I just put it back into this. You just put it back into this when you do that, and that's it. And then in this bottle, the energy will mix even more and more, and as it stays, let's say, for a few days, it gets darker and better and everything. Okay, I did it again because it was a little bit of a problem, and now I'll show people what to look for. Now people can see the real color. It's real dark, how it's supposed to be and everything. And now I'll show people what to look for. You get some of it. You get some of it on top. You see some white stuff? You put it on. I just did it. So there was like some little dark graphene spots, like right there. But it's not supposed to be. Okay, this was from there. This was from the top, stuck to the side. So I have to get it from the inside. Yeah, right there. On the sides, always some of it stick, but now it's okay. People can see. you apply it, and it's not supposed to have these little dark spots right there. That's the graphene that's not mixed, but most of it is. People can see most of it is. When you apply it and there is nothing left on your hand, then you know it's working properly. That means you mixed all the graphene in, and that's that. When you apply it and then once it's gone and nothing is left, that means then it's good. If you have dark graphene left at the end, then you have to whiz it a lot more and everything. But about 20 minutes, let's say, when you do that with enough water, it'll mix up nicely and everything. So, and Nivea, now I can tell by the smell, Nivea is not even evaporating into the air anymore. I solved that problem, because to inhale it, maybe it's not good graphene, but maybe it is. So, but I solved that problem with the honey. And I tell Nivea, you know, if let's say they were listening, most of Nivea just goes into the air. The atoms evaporate, dry off, and go into the air as evaporation. It doesn't even go into the skin. So Nivea, people just, if they put some honey into Nivea, it'll be more thick and better for the skin 10 times. You solve that problem like that. Just in one of these, you add like that much honey, and that's quite good. You just mix it and then you sell it a lot better. It'll work on the skin a lot better and everything, because the Nivea will be stuck more to the skin, and more of the energy will go into the skin. Plus honey is a very rich atom. It'll help in enriching the skin and everything. So that's for that. People just apply it. When you see that nothing is left on your hand, here people see it's a little dark, so that means the graphene is there. That means it needs to be mixed. So I'll probably do it 10 minutes more, but people get it. I'll show the results after, when I apply it, when it's done. So that's Nivea stuff, you know. This you put on the skin, most of it goes into the air. You inhale it and stuff, you know. But so I told that just a little bit of honey, that's what I figured out. Make sure that the graphene and the Nivea are stuck to the skin. They're not going into the air as much. They're going a little bit, but more honey can be added, and then that ensures that. And this even returns hair loss. This blend enriches the skin. Just here, the skin needs more time. So let's say about a month, person applies it for a few hours. You put it on and you put like a cap on. You know, people who play water polo, so you just put that cap over and you sleep. And then you wake up later, just not to inhale it, of course, while you sleep. So you can put some tape there or something. It will return hair loss, all the hair, in about a month. If a person does that every night when he goes to sleep, that blend will return hair like in... I took a haircut a few days ago, and the barber told me, I can tell your hair is thicker, this and that, and I only applied it for like maybe 5 hours altogether. Last night I just applied it again all night. I slept through with it, you know, over my head and over. But the ones with the graphene, I use the ones from the graphene tree, those atoms, Enriched, and that one. But this one works just as much because it has a lot more graphene in it and so on. So, but the one when it's enriched graphene, it can be used anywhere and so on. And you know, this solves Nivea. How come they didn't know that most of this just goes into the air and you inhale it? See, when you apply it, it's all gone. Even now, it's all gone. You can see that's the one from before. Now I did it 10 minutes more. See, here it's a little bit dark. A little bit of these dark spots, that's the graphene. So that just needs to be whizzed then a lot more till none of those remain. Till it's all great. This is what I did later. Here there's a little bit of them, but most of it is Nivea. Most of it is graphene and Nivea. And people can tell, once it's all gone and nothing remains, then you know that the graphene was broken down into individual atoms, because nothing is left. And that's that. That means it's working, and that's it. And here people can tell it's almost like that, has just a little bit of these. But then you're just throwing it away. It's better to whiz it completely. But if you do it over half an hour, then it gets too hot, might explode and everything. So because of the reaction of graphene and water and stuff. So you have to, when you do it, you just touch. Now it's a little bit hot, so that, but now I'm finished. If it's too hot, then you have to stop and so on, because it might melt the stuff and explode and everything. But a half an hour is probably enough. And then just add the honey at the end. First you mix it. I mean, I use this to turn graphene into a thorough liquid. When I water the plants, that's this blender for that. I use that to turn the graphene into a liquid, but here I don't need it as a liquid. I need it to be in Nivea, not in a liquid. So, because if it's too much liquid, then the Nivea, it's not going to work. It's too liquid, it's just going to drip off, and that's that. It has to be sticky and stick to the skin and everything. But the coolest thing ever, let's say girls want to do it for breasts, for ass, then they just, then it's good to use some of this. So when you do, let's say you finish it like that, you just add half a centimeter of this stuff. And then it's better for like those parts, ass, to make it even then tight and so on. So that's just to add. But I'm working on that. These two trees are for that whole thing. It has even these nuts in it and everything. And it's gonna be in the plant and it's gonna be in the fruit. So it's gonna have that whole blend. And then the Nivea will be mixed with that fruit and then the graphene, and it has graphene in it as well. And then all of these things that are in the blender now will also be in the blender, but they will be enriched atoms. So the more energy they have, the more they are enriched, the more they'll enrich the skin. So, simply put. So now people can see even this one leaves a little bit dark places. That's just graphene, like from a pencil. But that's okay, you just wash that off. Here it's even less, so that means it's working like 95%. But if that leaves, then that just means you have to whiz it a few more, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. But to the 95%, it's working fine and everything. So. Okay, so now it's done, and you can see it's a liquidy and everything. It's finished, got the water out. And to explain, you know, the skin on the head. That simply skin loses energy, and the more it's thin, the more the hairs fall out. So the thicker the skin, the hair stays longer. The thinner the skin, then people lose hair. Just simply because there's no energy in the atoms and there's nothing to squeeze the hair. Then it becomes a little bit loose, then it's gray, and then it just falls out, and that's it, because there's nothing to hold the hairs in place, so to speak. So very simple physics, and this fills the skin with energy, and it becomes, the atoms get like blow up, get bigger, bigger, and bigger, and that's basically it. So in a month, it's supposed to return hair like very easily. On hair, I did many patents in the past and everything. And women, let's say, women biologically, genetically, have thick skin, their head, and men don't. So that's genes, but some men. But that still depends on which food you eat when you're a kid. That decides all those things and everything, because the atoms of food make the skin on your head and everything. And what your mother eats when you're a kid, that decides all those things. So it's just poured in, all of it. Now it's ready. People can see the dark color, and that's basically it. There's a little bit water in it, but that'll just come out by itself when it's applied. And that's So it's all done. On skin, I would apply like a lot of it on a hand and then just put a glove over it, you know, those hardcore gloves for hard work that are like rubber, and then you just put some tape here and you'll see, and leave it on one day. You'll see in one day your hand will be like white and it'll return the young looks in one day just. But when you apply it, let's say a month like that every day, then your skin will return to teenage looks and so on. It can work on the whole body, and now I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna make more for myself, and it can be used on the whole body except the private part, so that it doesn't go inside the blood and everything. It can be used, and now okay, that does smell. It doesn't really smell as much as Nivea would before, so, but if it smells too much, you just add a little bit more honey in, and then you know that it's good. But when I applied it like that, it didn't even smell that much as before, so it's good. But that ensures that graphene stays on the skin and not into the air, which is the whole point, and the Nivea. So the honey solves that problem easily. But that's very interesting physics, you know. Nobody could ever make a cure for baldness, but it's such a stupid and easy thing to figure out, you know. You know, for hair loss, women don't lose hair, and it is very simple to figure out, very dumb stuff. The skin is just like thin and doesn't have the energy to hold the hairs, and they fall out. So simple and easy to understand. And what you're doing here with the graphene is returning that energy into the skin very fast. But when these trees all give fruit, which is enriched graphene, then that happens even more. People cannot. So, and the funny thing is, let's say when we have graphene enriched like 10 times and then put it in a cream, you just invite some let's say 40-year-old woman, you know, who was very pretty when she was young. You invite her like for breakfast. You give her this stuff, you apply it, and by dinner time she'll be like young and pretty, looking like hot and everything. So that's like the coolest thing you could like. And if you're making this stuff, the girls, they'll be like calling you every day. This I'm making for an ex-girlfriend now. So. Just the stupid thing about it all is, some people, I gave it to some friends and everything, and they're like thinking about money. They are thinking they're gonna steal my idea or something like that. I don't even give a shit about that stupid stuff. You know, I got millions of ideas. This is like just fun stuff I do. Got like millions of ideas, millions of patents, worth like even a lot more and everything. But some people are about money, you know. They don't see the meaning of life, which is just to have fun, you know, hot chicks, so on. But, you know. So, that's about that. So, there it is. It's all done, finished, and now I'll just show people how that goes. I clean this off things, and you apply it to the skin just to check out, is it all working correctly. That's how runny it's supposed to be. So I took all the water out. When you finish blending and everything, you just put a little knife in and go through it, and the water separates, because the water doesn't stick to any of this stuff. And the honey makes it stick, and that's it. I'll just use, this is now ordinary, no. I'll just take some of ordinary Nivea, just to show, to compare it. And now you can see that it's doing the same thing basically. It's not and that's how it's supposed to be. If it's too runny, then it's not going to work that well. It's supposed to be like that, stay on your hand. So you got to get all the water out, but the water separates by itself. You just pour it out and it remains inside. So then you apply it like that, but some parts are always stuck to the sides, so I now used a little bit too much. So I'll just, it doesn't smell at all like ordinary Nivea, so the honey is working. That's what that's for, so that it doesn't evaporate. It makes sure that it sticks to your hand, and I just applied too much. So. But there you can almost see. I'll just get a little off. So I'll just get off some of it, just to show people what's supposed to happen. And you apply it, but the more you apply, the better it is. When you put a glove over it, then you apply tons like that, and you leave it on all night. So you apply it and it's supposed to evaporate, but already you can see there's a little spot there that just was stuck to the sides of the blender. But it looks like it's all good. Now you just let it dry, and then when it dries, nothing is supposed to remain on your hand. Nothing dark, nothing white, nothing. Just like when you would apply Nivea. So I'll just show people right there. When you do it a little bit faster, you can see that there are a little bit of these bits, but that just needs to be blended more. And when you're done, you can see that nothing remains. It's a little darker, but nothing remains on your hand, and that's the whole point. And the dark in the Nivea, that's what's returning now the cold energy, dark energy into the skin. With Nivea. Nivea helps to release that energy into the skin, so in the physics parts and everything. But honey should be added just a little bit, just to get a thickness so that it's thick, but not too much. But that is working out well. So now, because this is for an ex-girlfriend, now I'm gonna make the same with this one. So now the graphene is in, and just this and a little bit of water, and honey comes at the end. But people can know this is like to make tight ass, good looking tits, breasts and everything. This is for that. But you can mix it, half of this, half of that, girls, and for that, like it makes the skin tight and young looking and everything. But I had some of the other stuff left in, so it's gonna mix all together in this one now. So people, I finished. This is the one to look young, then this is the one tight ass, tight body, skin and everything. Although this is just oil. Generally in physics speaking, this is not even that good. This just temporarily tightens the skin. People can now see. Well, it was just on for like 10-20 minutes, not that big difference. But this temporarily makes the skin tight, but it doesn't really help out that much. But yeah, it does. It has some cold stuff in it as well. But the big difference is between these two, this has oil in it. This doesn't. So probably that's the big difference. But it has some vitamins and so on. But to look young, this is the one for. And this might even make tight skin even more, a lot more. What I just showed with this one. Because the point is to fill the skin with energy, but this one will do the same thing. But with the blend, maybe it'll do it better. But this has hot stuff in it, oils, so you know. So that's it, tight ass, that's to look young, and so. Hey people, so another checkup on the plants I thought to do right now, and to show people how everything is going. There's a lot of good progress, and to point out some important things about growing these types of plants and everything. Right here is the dinosaur tree. First, people can see it's almost to the top now. For in a few days it goes like 10-20 centimeters up, 3-4 days and everything. Flowers started on all three of these to work, while on these two mostly. And I realized what the problem was. Didn't tell people that. I realized in few days. I would water the ground like every day, almost every other day, and I realized that that was a big mistake. The tomato grows a lot when it is left. Once it's watered, especially with the stuff that I told to water with honey and everything, and the fruits and everything, the roots. Then person should leave it at least 4 or 5 days. But that depends where the tomato is, how hot is it and everything. So a person should wait till he sees that it's dry, like right there. But that's just some ground from here that I put over. Right here it's also wet a lot. So now I water it once and I leave it totally so that I leave it all the way till I see that it's dry, just like right here. And once a person sees that it's dry, like right here, for a few hours, let's say 3 hours, 4 hours is enough, 10 hours tops, then he should water it. So that's a safe way to know. If it's wet, like here, a person touches the ground. If it's wet, then it's working. It's going in the roots, doesn't have to be watered. And if tomatoes are watered too much, that's not even good for them and everything. That's why these flowers right there died. That's why they went dry and died, because I was watering it too much. So that's the first step, especially with the stuff I use. Let's say if somebody puts honey right here. Well, honey will make the ground wet for months and months, because honey is that type of atom. It doesn't rot away, it doesn't turn bad. It can stay right there for a year or sort of. Honey, you know. So the safe way to know always is wait till the ground is dry like this and then water it. But it's not supposed to be dry too long, because that too is bad for the tomato. But if it's some few hours, that's okay, that's not that bad. But if it's outside, that will happen faster, of course, because sunlight dries it and everything. And now I started to put some of them out. So first I thought to show people progress. Now the flowers are working fine, like right there. This is the one where the suckers were cut off. And the flowers are right there working fine and everything. Right there is one's going very well. These are going the best so far. That's inside is the tomato and where it starts to work. And now I open these up and I let air in. I let the wind come in and everything, because the tomatoes also need airflow. People say these right here should be cut off, but this is the natural dinosaur tree that I'm working, so I'm not cutting anything off, just leaving it the way it is. Here, people can see that most of the suckers were cut off, but it's working okay and it's bringing flowers. But still, this tree has like 4 flowers. One started there, one there, that are gonna give fruit soon to start giving it. One right there on a sucker, one right there on a sucker, then one right here is flowers already on a sucker down. That's down at the bottom of the tree, and so on. Here as well, some little ones. No, it's not on that one. There it is. So yeah, right here is also flowers starting. People can see right there and right there. And that too is on a sucker that I left later on this one. So as people can see, suckers give fruit. Not all suckers should be cut away, you know. That's what they say, because they just cannot give enough energy to the tree. And this I'm touching, it's also dry. I watered these two like 4 days ago. And that was one of the problems, that I watered it too much. But I thought I have to put a lot of energy into them. So that's sort of okay for the plant, but not for the flowers. If it's too hot and if it is too much water, the flowers die. So that's not good. But for the plant, it's okay-ish, sort of. The plant can handle that, but the flowers, no. So now the dinosaur tree, as people can see right there, is still the biggest. And it is growing the fastest. That still remains. its natural design, how it's designed to be. That's this one right here. Of course it'll be at the top soon, but I plan to make it a vine so that it goes like a vine. I'm gonna put another stick like that and to go to the side, and then I'm gonna sort of bend this one a little bit to go to the side then and grow like a vine on top. And tomatoes would be on top as well. So right here, people can also see that the flowers are also starting to grow anyway, almost as good as on this one. The dinosaur tree maybe has like, maybe it has like almost 200 flowers on it right now. Right there, people can see that these already are starting to bloom. So they're maybe two days behind from those. And these will turn into flowers soon. Those right there, up there, those, and so on. And they're all over this tree. Right there, they're growing, the flowers are getting bigger, and so on. So, but these days I realized a tomato needs to be outside, you know. That's how, because inside the fruit doesn't really work well. But I'm not gonna put them outside yet, but every day I open this up and air comes in, and that's just as good as if it is outside. So this is just a sucker going from the ground, and it has one right there, and these are already big and starting to turn into flowers already. So still the dinosaur tree, the natural design of it, is doing better than both of these. And people can see that. So yeah, these flowers faster are going faster. They'll turn into tomatoes first, of course, but these are not that much far behind, so that's maybe 3-4 days, you know. But this one already has on it sort of like around 200 flowers, which is 200 tomatoes. But what I'm trying to work out here is how is this gonna work out in gravity. This one sort of went to the side because I didn't have a stick bigger for it to tie it to. I can sort of move it back, that's okay when I extend that, but still, if it was like this, right there, that's about 8 tomatoes, 7 tomatoes now, and it has like 3-4, it has maybe 12 flowers on it. So that means that's gonna be about 12 tomatoes right there. And I plan one to be like half a kilogram, maybe a kilogram. So how is it gonna hold all that weight? Plus there's flowers there and there. There's 3 just there. So it's always better to extend it that it goes vertically, because here if it was very heavy it could just snap and everything. But tying it and everything, that works out, just to point that out. Now the next thing that I'm working on, and I thought to show people, is the cherry. This is the Italian cherries. They're growing very well. They're growing very well and going okay, sort of like a centimeter a day. And the problem that I did here was I watered it, but now I cleaned it. But on some of the flowers, like there, people can see a dry one. If there is water, because I'm watering them with honey and with enriched atoms from this tree, and then that's too heavy. When I spray it like that, it falls on it, and then that's heavy. The atoms of honey are heavy and makes it fall down and it dies. So when people do it, it is smart to know to water it like right there, not on the plant itself, because then it'll just fall and die because that's too heavy for it. So I'll just show people how to do that on 1 and 2. But the Italian cherries are doing very good right there, and that's enriched atoms from this tree that is growing on. So they're doing okay. People can see right there. They're moving up and everything. They're starting now to point upwards. People can tell the difference from the last video. And that's habaneros right there. Mexican habaneros. They're doing okay too. But some of them there died because I sprayed over them, and then the honey and everything is too heavy, and then they die. So people can just watch out to water there and not on the leaves themselves. But that's easily understood. So the dinosaur tree has now around 200 flowers. That's 200 tomatoes. and that's right now in at May is almost beginning, so people can tell that all throughout all the summer it will work, and that's important to know. Those are the roots right there. So it has tons of roots. So if people did this outside in a garden, they can still do it, of course, but a raised bed or a little bit bigger pot is a better solution, because then they have to mix tons more of the honey and everything if they're watering it outside. So this way it is simpler and easier to do, because if it's outside, the roots could go 5 meters. You know, roots are usually as big as the plant on the, well, that's when it's trees and everything. So, and right there people can see that this one is changing sort of color right there. So that means it's changing into wood, so to speak. The tomato plant is sort of changing into wood, and there it's a little bit changing color as well. So there people can see that tomato plant is a vine actually, when it's done properly, like through enrichment of food and making it live bigger and longer for years and years. It'll turn into wood really and be like a vine actually. So up there I'll just make it go to the side, and it can then extend longer and longer, and it can grow as much as it wants. So naturally this one will grow naturally how much it can and everything. And that's what I didn't point out in earlier videos. This watering and everything with the honey, with the fruits, with the greens and everything, it should be done, I think, like every 5 days maybe, even, because this moisture, once one waters it with carbon and everything, well, then it remains, the ground remains moist for like days, even a week. So every 7 days maybe it would be okay to water it, and that is good for the plant and the flowers and everything, and then it grows even more. So over watering tomatoes, that's very bad, not a good idea. And people can see right there how many roots it has. Yes, it would be bigger, that this pot was maybe this big. That would be bigger, like a whiskey barrel one, but that's okay. This one will do as well. And I put some things outside. I can show people that. That's a tomato right there. And that is the cucumber. The cucumber I put right here because it really needs the bees to come over and everything, because these cucumbers are not really like those that are the flowers are all the same on the inside. There are no female or male flowers, or what these farmers are talking about. Yes, it does probably, but wouldn't that make them lose half of the fruit, I thought, and everything. But I planned to put it outside anyways, so I just left it outside, and the bees would come over and do, you know, what they're doing, what they're supposed to, and then that's that. It'll work out. But the cucumber is doing okay outside. This leaf sort of didn't do well because it was too cold, and on this one some leaves did sort of curl up and didn't do well because of the cold, because it was their first night outside. But that's okay. So some leaves are gonna be lost, like right there. That's from the cold and everything. It was curling up and dying, but that's okay, just a few leaves. But as soon as I put it outside, the flowers started to bloom. So yeah, for tomatoes, that's true. They're supposed to be outside and everything, and right there. So as soon as I put it outside, it begins to give fruit and everything. People can tell from the flowers working. So now I'm planning, just waiting a day or two, and then I'll put all of them outside once it's about 20 degrees and so on. When it's around 20, and at night when it's around 18 degrees, well, that's okay then for tomatoes, perfect. But the cucumber is doing fine. I put it here that it hangs. It's protected from the wind. One died right here. One died right here. The wind destroyed it, a cherry one last night. But that's okay. I just put a potato in it. Potato right there to make a potato plant. Thought to test some ideas on that. So that's a potato now, and I put one there. But I put these two out just to see how they'll do. So yes, I opened this up that air comes in, and outside temperature every day, some days longer and then longer and longer, so that the plants get used to the temperature. But now they're about ready to go out. But as people can see, when this is opened, that's just as good as if they're outside. During the summer, I can just leave it open like that, and these tomatoes will do just fine then, because it is that type of temperature. So that's that. People can see right there, that's a chili plant. It's looking very, very green, very, 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 very good. And that one behind it. And these right here are growing fast and everything. And because I left all of them to not water them anymore, as long as it's wet, I leave it like that now. And here I did some things. This was the tree that I put oil in, and the below branches died, were all like that. So the oil destroyed them. Basically it was too hot inside the leaves, and they started to dry like that. And right there was all going bad, like white, like when stuff spoils. And then I thought that'd be okay to have this tree to figure out some type of penicillin with it and everything, but it's not really that good. That only helps when one is making the fruit. But if to use oil on plants, it seems it's not that much a good idea and destroys them. To do it on a tree, let's say like a lemon tree or some tree, there it could be a good idea and okay, because a tree can withstand oil coming out of it and everything, but it'll still mess up the leaves and everything. But when the fruit comes, it could be some type of test and everything. But in short, to explain, to enrich and make some future best penicillin that's like highly enriched, kills all viruses like that, then oil is pumped into the fruit that one wants to make penicillin out of. Because what spoils, yeah, the cold stuff spoils as well. That's correct. But a lot later, and a lot less than hot stuff in the plants and everything. So to make penicillin oil, olive oil, is a very good idea, and so on. That's what I figure out from messing up this plant, but that's okay, it's still alive. So now I'm gonna put some other thing on it, because I saw the oil was messing everything up. As people can see right there, a lot of branches right here, all of them were messed up like that and everything. So but now just put something else there and but it was a good idea to test it, because I saw all the things that happened. So for penicillin, some future best penicillin, in the fruit, put oil, a certain amount of it. That will be in future videos to make some best penicillin. That will also be going on and everything. But that's what I learned so far. Because the plant, it messes up, but a tree oil cannot mess up and everything, because the tree is a lot stronger and full of hydrogen and everything, so it's just as hot as it. So that's a quick, just to explain what happened here and everything. This one is a little bit crooked and everything because I didn't tie it on time, but that's okay, it'll survive. It'll survive. I guess it bent a little bit here, but that's okay. So, and that's outside. These are the strawberries I put in. Strawberries I like working on a lot. Right there, 1, 2, and there's 3 of them, but they grow very, very slowly and everything. They grow slowly, number 1, number 2, but they're very easy to make. And for strawberries, I got tons of huge ideas. For now, I'm watering them with my roots from my plants. I whiz them in the blender and some cacao. And for strawberries, that's supposed to be good. But there, new ones are supposed to come out and everything. But for strawberries, I got tons of best ideas. Like the ones Japanese make, the white strawberry, that's like 100 euros per strawberry. That's like a big one and everything. Well, I'm gonna make even better ones than that. Is the plan and everything. There's gonna be a white one. There's gonna be different colors and everything. Because strawberries are easy to make and you don't need much ground. This is all you need for a strawberry plant. But yeah, they extend those little versions of themselves later, so I'll just add then these other pots and everything. But strawberries are very easy, just they grow slowly. You see, that's like how much it grew in past few days. But the other plants are growing a lot faster, but that's okay. They're slower, but they're still growing and everything. So I explained the creams to people. This is what I left just to show people. This is now just honey and water. And that's all honey on top. And that's individual carbon atoms. That's what they form, a foam with honey on top. So when somebody's blending, you know, let's say like that, as soon as you see that now it's all foam, as soon as you see foam on top, that means the honey is done. Because now it's just gonna leave and everything. The point is to get as much of it in the water as it's possible. Those are growing okay. Some more, some less, and I added some of them, but they're doing okay and everything. So that's a checkup on the plants. And the best thing of all is that I figured this out. The only problem with the flowers was that I didn't, that I overwatered them. And then that was too much water for them. Now they're doing fine, and fruit right there will be very, very fast seen. A little bit yellow, then green, and then red, and so on. And then that's the best, that's the most important part, to get to the fruit and everything. And the dinosaur tree is almost to the top. So it's growing very, very fast, like maybe 10 centimeters a day, even more. And it'll be like a vine. I'm gonna let it go this way then, like a vine and everything. But I'm afraid to put them outside. The wind last night messed up one tomato plant. It messed up totally. And I threw it away. It's right there. Now I'm just gonna blend it and use it for that. That's the roots and everything for that. The wind messed it up totally. So maybe I should just wait. All these are gonna go outside. But I'm gonna wait like till it's a little bit more hot and everything. And in the dinosaur tree, people can see that's a sucker right there. And it has, it is first giving signs of flowering right there. People can see white that the flower is starting, and there's another one right there. So in the dinosaur tree, and there are suckers all over the place. This is also a sucker, and it's starting to give flowers right there, which is the one, the lowest one from the bottom. And it's like outracing many of them. These are like all lower too, but they're going a lot slower. But some are small, like there, the flowers. So the bigger the sucker is, like let's say this one right here, the bigger the sucker is, that's a sucker right there, it gives the flowers faster and everything. So, and this one right here, which is there, that's the flowers on it. This is the biggest sucker on there. So it is giving flowers faster now. People can see right there, it's starting to be white than the plant itself. That's the ones on the plant itself. So the suckers are actually what gives fruit. Yeah, you gotta water it with enriched stuff a lot, but as people can see from a distance, that's still the biggest plant. Green, nothing is bad on it, and it's starting to give fruit. As people just saw, the flowers are starting to open up, and it's still the biggest one. That one is sort of the same thing, just one sucker was cut off. But on this one, there's no flowers blooming yet. There are some smaller ones or bigger ones, but the flowers didn't start to bloom yet. They're all, I mean, they're there, but they're very small and everything. This is like a bush, and like in the wild and everything growing, and that's the one sucker that was cut off, and that was it. And then I thought it was a bad idea. But the big point is, when people water plants with all these enriched atoms that I told, you don't have to cut off the suckers. Yeah, you'll have to wait a little bit longer, but it's not really that much big of a difference then. When you're watering the plant with all the enriched stuff, and I water them all with the same stuff, I mean, that's the big difference, you know, what farmers say, cut off the suckers. That's not really much difference. Right there, the flower is starting to open up, and those opened up. But although this did start earlier, but I overwatered it then, so that's why they stopped. But that's all it is. It's 1, 2. It's like they get maybe 10 tomatoes faster than they would have. This one is now working, and these are starting, so they'll probably sort of at the same week give the fruit and everything. But this plant, the dinosaur plant, will give like hundreds tomatoes more than that one. So that's still a fact and everything. So, and what I would say, this is the strawberry, and there's gonna be about 10 of them. I plan to do 10 different ones. Some are still seeds and everything. But the best thing about strawberries is one doesn't need much land and doesn't need much watering. Yeah, they're slower, they're a small plant, but they give fruit just like that and everything. And the best idea, now I'm watering it with my enriched atoms of roots, and I'm watering it with cacao, as people saw in previous videos. Cacao is chocolate. So this is now made out of chocolate, basically. And when I'm gonna water the strawberries, some are gonna be done with whipped cream, that's a powder. Some is gonna be done with chocolate. Some is gonna be done with vanilla and everything. And it's gonna give some big super strawberries, the tastiest, the best in the world. Tons of great ideas about it I got. That will also follow in future videos and everything. So one can just imagine whipped cream that's out of the white of an egg, and mostly, and then you water the strawberry with that, so it has whipped cream on the inside. So it's a very good idea, and in the future videos that will be, and then that strawberry will turn white most likely and be even better than the Japanese ones and everything. So the best thing about biology and everything is you can use millions of different ideas and change things into a million different things. So I'm gonna have like 5 different strawberries. One from vanilla, one from cacao, one from chocolate, one from whipped cream and everything. So it's gonna be very good. Then for milkshakes, for this and that, for ice cream, all that can be used in tons of different ways, you know. And that shows that basically the food industry and everything, when it's revolutionized, millions of different foods will come from everything. Let's say strawberries that are enriched once and made out of chocolate, made out of whipped cream, it'll be sort of white like the Japanese ones. That's the plan. But they'll be even better and everything. And the taste will be phenomenal and everything. And then out of that, one will have like the best strawberry. Then if somebody takes a strawberry made out of vanilla, then that one will be perfect for ice cream, for strawberry ice cream, and so on and so on. So the possibilities are sort of endless. Then there could be 5 times enriched strawberries, 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, and every time it's enriched, the taste will change in part. So it's a very huge ideas and everything. So, but the whole physics can lead to great stuff and everything. Strawberries is just one example, and so this is another great idea I got for one plant, for this one, or some better one. This is one. This was not looking so good. This is what I thought to do with it. This is the stuff I get when I go to the gym. Sometimes it's creatine, it's called. People can see what it is, but that's sort of something that gives you strength when you want to lift weights and so on. Creatine, people know what it is. And Red Bull. So one plant, I'm thinking, but I'm waiting for the fruit, of course. When the fruit comes, then that's the big idea. And then I'm going to water it with these 2 and water. And then they are going to turn into the fruit and be enriched and everything and so on. And that's totally a good idea too. And then a person, let's say, is going to a boxing match, is going to the gym, is going to some sports event and everything. Then people take those tomatoes, they just eat one tomato, they'd be like Mike Tyson knocking everybody out like in 3 seconds, you know. Because they would have strength a lot. Let's say these, you enrich them, they become enriched. That means people will be like strong, like hugely strong. So that can even revolutionize the whole sports industry. And this person can use. This is not steroids or anything like that. That's bad. So it's not illegal. A person can do that and everything. I thought to say, I know my videos look a little bit disorganized and everything and so on, but it's just because I didn't get a cameraman yet. I thought it to be a show and everything, and a cameraman and everything, done. I just don't have time, and I'm opening up a hotel, so all my money I have to pour into that, like tons of it and everything, just so I open this summer. It's open already, but So, but I would do a show a lot better and everything, just so people know. But, I don't care that much, it's not about getting likes or whatever, If it's a hot chick, then I'd mind, do I get a like or not, But the point is, I thought just that the information, reaches people, and that it's good stuff. It's not some incorrect stuff and everything. But in the future, I plan to make a show that's like better looking and everything and so on. So this is like a totally good idea too. This stuff, creatine and Red Bull or similar energy drinks, and then to water a fruit with that, and then these two will turn into the fruit. So this stuff, when it becomes enriched and then a person eats that tomato, that'll be like in sports 5 times stronger people than ordinary people. Because when these atoms come into the muscles and into the blood, that's like gives strength like immediately. Just as a person eats a tomato, a few hours later, he has strength like huge. He'd be like Arnold Schwarzenegger walking around and everything. So that too is a huge thing in this whole physics that people can understand. People can be a lot stronger, a lot better at sports and everything. And people can understand, in this physics and everything, it can't be all explained in one show. There is tons of things. Like this tree that I messed up with the oil. That's oil right there. People can see that whole dry leaf. That's where tons of oil went. And in the quantum realm, that means that water cannot even get to that part of the leaf. It cannot go there that much and everything, because the oil clogs everything up. Plus, it's too hot. The leaf and the whole plant has to have the exact right quantum realm temperature of every part of it. That's good for it. If the quantum realm temperature of it is bad, then that's what one gets. It's too hot, and that's all there is to it. So of course there's tons more to say about everything, but I'm trying to step by step explain everything and so on. So, and the dinosaur tree looks huge, it looks great already. In about 2 days it'll hit the top. Then I have to move it to go like a vine, to go to the side and everything. But everything is working out. The plants are doing good, flowers are doing good, so it's going okay.